everyone. So this video is going to show how to make cast-on flowers, and this can be applied for cast-on flowers laid on both pleated fabric as well as flat fabric. Now they do take a bit of practice, so please don't get discouraged if your first couple are a bit sloppy, because mine were too. So I'm using a millimeter needle. I think that's how you pronounce it, or a sharp needle. They're both very similar in shape, and the size is going to depend on how large, like in thickness, you'd like your flowers to be. Also, I'm using 2 strands of embroidery floss. So to begin, I tied onto the back of my work by going through 2 pleats and then going through them again to create a loop. Then I wrapped my needle around this loop a few times and pulled tight. And so then I could send my needle to the right side of my work, and you'll kind of imagine where you like your pleats to be centered around, and send your needle to an appropriate spot. So I'm doing 3 petals, so I'm thinking of, breaking this up into thirds, and then I kind of send it to the second spot where that petal is going to end, if you will. So you do want a little bit of a space in between those 2 petal ends. Now, it's not brain surgery by any means, so don't sweat your precision. So from there, you'll hold the bottom of your needle with your left hand. Well, you will if you're right-handed, that is. Then you'll use your right hand to take the thread and loop it around your finger and place it on the needle, and then pull tight, but not too tight that the stitches aren't going to be able to slide easily along the needle. So again, you'll take the floss with your right hand and kind of pinching it between your thumb and your middle fingers, and using your index finger to sort of manage the twist. You'll rotate your hand, up to the left, so you kind of go up and then clockwise and slide it onto the needle. Again, pulling tight, but not so tight that you can't slide those stitches along the needle. So you'll want to pull all of these stitches with the same tension. There's basically 2 things that'll make your petals look sloppy, and one is like having an inconsistent tension, and the other is making sure that all those little bumps that you're creating at the top of the stitch, all of those should be in line with each other. So you can use your thumbnail or whatever to push these little knots or bump things, whatever you want to call them, so they're in line with each other. So once you have enough stitches for your desired petal length, then hold the stitches between your thumb and index finger while you pull the needle with your other hand. And this is why the stitches should have been pulled tight, but not so tight that they can't be easily slid off the needle. Now, it's quite common to get a little twist in your floss as you're pulling it through. Just carefully flip it around so the floss is in line with the pulling, if that makes sense. You want your floss to be on the outside of your stitches as you're pulling, so it doesn't mess up those stitches. So once you're done pulling the floss through, you can send your needle to the wrong side of your work, and you'll repeat this process until you have the number of petals you'd like. So again, in my case, I'm doing a cast-on flower with 3 petals. So I went around the circle and broke it into thirds, if you will. It's the same process, sending my needle up, going over a little small space, doing the cast-on stitches, and then pulling the floss through the needle, finishing by putting the needle down on the wrong side of your work, and then again to my 3rd petal, and you can sort of see how this placement fills the gap up a little bit. So you will have a hole in the middle of your flower, and we will fill that in a second. But yeah, I just finished up the last petal by doing the same thing as the other 2. I'll just show a couple of shots because I think you're getting the idea by now, and then we can move on to filling that gap. Now, I've seen cast-on flowers filled with the use of 1 bead or a couple beads, so you can play with it on your desired look. I've also seen like a small button being used, so you can definitely get creative with how you're going to fill the center of that flower. And then finally, I tied off in the same way as I did in the beginning of the video, creating that loop and going through it to cinch it down. And I just want to reiterate that these take a bit of practice. So while this flower I showed in the demonstration looks pretty good, here is my first one ever, and it looks like a hot mess. I'm not even going to try to sugarcoat it. It is a hot mess. But you can see as I kept, practicing, they kept improving. So please don't get discouraged. After all, that's the point of me showing you these first cast-on flowers, because they aren't pretty, let's all be honest. So I hope this was helpful. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments below, and I will do my best to answer them. As always, I appreciate y'all for watching, and I hope to catch y'all next time.